AskReddit. Old people of Reddit, what are some challenges kids today would face if they grew up in your era? If you need information on something, you walk or ride your bike to the library, go to the card catalog and search fruitlessly for an hour, then go ask the librarian for help. Check out the book and go home. Read it. Don't forget to return it, or you'll have a fine. Landline phones and having to talk to our girl's parents to get her on the phone was terrifying. Not cute or fun, it sucked. When you get news a movie is coming out that you are anticipating and having to wait to see the trailer in the actual movie theater during previews to get a first glimpse at it. Getting lost anywhere with not phone to guide you out. Getting an address without any clue on where exactly it is and getting shitty directions from who you ask. Born in early 60s, up to the age of 10 or so he has cancer equals certain death. Don't need to know what stage it is, don't need to know what type it is. Cancer equals DEAD. By 16 I could ask what type. If it was a leukemia or some simpler skin cancers, you have a chance. Ovarian? Yeah, you're still OVARIAN equals DEAD. Today, some types are still monstrous. I had an aunt and a cousin both go from pancreatic. But, last time I checked, today, 2019, ovarian has a 45% 5-year survival rate. Almost even money. And one form of leukemia flips from 95% death to 98% life with one shot. It may be a $5,000 shot, I don't know the cost. But to flip from 95% death to 98% life is amazing at almost any price. Losing any limb is horrible, but the prosthetic limbs today can be incredible. And our expectations are very different for childhood diseases. I have one friend where the DRs told his mother he has muscular dystrophy. He won't live to be 18. He'll be 73 this October 2019. Down syndrome, autism. Many were just shuttled off to die in sanatoriums. For all our other problems, 2019 is a very different world than 1960, for the better, in many ways. Communication. I have been in so many situations, setting up last minute get-togethers, and thought Jesus this would be literally impossible without cell phones. So many scenarios especially when traveling or meeting up, or changes to plans. That, and God bless Google Maps. Making plans with other kids was so difficult. Say there's a movie you want to see. Friday night, you look in the paper to find out when it's playing. Talk your parents into letting you go and giving you the $4 or whatever it was for the matinee, and then call your friend on the landline and say what your parents agreed to. Then they hang up and go talk to Thiz. They call back and say their parents won't drive them across town to the movie theater your parents said okay to, but they'll take them to the other one that's closer to their house. You hang up again and talk to your parents. They say why don't you go to the one that's near our house? You explain. They say, okay, fine, but we have to leave the house an hour early because they have to, I don't know, go grocery shopping or something. So the next day's Saturday, and they drop you off there at the movie theater 20 minutes before it starts, and you hang around in the strip mall, or whatever it is, and just barely manage not to spend your $4, so you can still afford your ticket, and finally it's time for the movie to start only your friend isn't there. So either you go by yourself, or you keep waiting outside the theater. Either way, friend never shows. Parents pick you up 4 hours later, it has started raining in this time, and the theater manager won't let you back in unless you buy another ticket and ask if you had fun with your friend. You get home and call them up, intending to be all what the fuck. Only your friend's parent answers and says friend can't come to the phone right now. So at this point you know that your friend is in deep shit, but not precisely why. Monday at school you find out that friend's parents said they could go if they did their homework first, and what I know, their parents actually had the nerve to check. They tried to call you 10 minutes before the movie started to tell you they couldn't come, but for some reason, you weren't home, and that was the last phone call they were allowed to make until they really finished their homework, which happened that morning on the bus. Then the next weekend you try to make plans with your friend again, and your parents say, but you just hung out with them last weekend. It was a nightmare. No indoor plumbing. You get to use an outhouse which is freezing in the winter and stinks to high heaven in the summer. Water comes from a well, dispensed by hand pump. Want a hot bath? Carry bucket after bucket of water to be heated on the stove. End up with a tepid bath. Then you have empty the wash tub with a bucket, so you had to carry the water twice. 54 meters, 3 channels on a shitty TV. If the president was speaking you were screwed. I remember Watergate, mainly because it preempted the Flintstones and Gilligan's Island for a fucking month. Old bastards like me romanticize staying outside all the time, but we did that because if you were inside your dad was using you as his personal remote control to flip channels. You're bored and want to hang out with your friend? Go to the kitchen and use the phone on the wall to call his house, which rings on the phone in his kitchen. No one answers because of one of million reasons he is not within earshot of that phone. That's it, you're out of options. Go back to being bored. Using a typewriter. No editing, copy and paste, moving sentences or paragraphs with a click of a button. I typed my master's thesis on a manual typewriter. However, it was a source of income for people that were good at typing. If you suddenly wanted to know something like how to say dick in Chinese or what size of boots Napoleon was, you couldn't just Google it and have the answer in 5 seconds. You had to commit to that question, get a book and hope the info was there, or you found someone who knew about that topic. I'm 30, but my mother is in her 60s and gets pretty angry whenever anyone my age tries to romanticize the 60s and 70s. There were a lot of things that ranged from difficult to almost impossible for women during that time, including getting a credit card without a husband's permission, getting birth control, again, without a husband's permission, being taken seriously by a doctor, leaving an abusive spouse. Honestly, there are so many more, but these are the ones my mom either dealt with directly or witnessed in her friends. Mind you, she's a white woman with money. The problems were compounded with non-white and poor women. Using computer systems like DOS, BASIC, etc. People nowadays are so used to having an interactive interface they have no idea all the work that goes under it. When you are a 8-something-year-old just wanting to play some goddamn pirated Mario port your friend gave you, it could get very frustrating. And let's not talk about when your friend just hands you a notebook with the code to a game, and you spend 3 hours typing it in, just to find out you hate that game. Nowadays if you open DOS to do anything, people think you are a master hacker programmer who knows the secrets of the forbidden 8-bit black screen. In the 90s, you would have to download dirty pictures on a 56K modem, so it would take a while. Then you'd have to print them out on a black and white dot matrix printer, so you could sneak the printouts into the bathroom to jerk off with, because the computer was an expensive piece of machinery centrally located in the living room. Due to the technological limitations of these methods, tits would come out looking a bit square, and if you were into black chicks, like I was, you'd have to explain the rampant use of ink cartridges by saying that you were doing a lot of book reports and stuff, to which your parents would reply, how many book reports can you possibly be doing, because you're failing every fucking class, including English. Can't speak to the truth of this, but my dad always said that kids were a lot tougher on each other when he was growing up, and both the schools and your own parents looked the other way. He got his ass kicked a million times, and it was always just boys will be boys. My grandpa told him to return the ass kicking next time or just get over it. Suffice to say he had no nostalgia for his childhood. Having to cope with boredom. A long distance drive, when you're a passenger, waiting in a long line, waiting for someone to pick you up, waiting at the dentist's office. We had to deal with those types of situations without electronic devices to keep our minds occupied. Blockbuster and the relief you felt when there were 20 DVD game cases and one was still available. You felt like you just told the world back quote yes bitch. There wasn't an option to download or go to 20 red boxes. If BB didn't have it, F my Friday night. BB genuinely stressed me. Also, fucking dial up. You really have no idea what a pain in the ass dial up was, and that noise it made, haunting. Plus family picking up the damn phone when you were about to get a web page up after 8 minutes.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to be entered into our iMac giveaway.